And the nails certainly held them at the road. All the days he came backward on the track. And with the boys in Liverpool, put in the circle, and the callers in the pool, and my goodness.
riveted onto the outside. The ship's frames start out as straight bars. These are heated in a furnace, then hooked out onto slabs of cast iron, where they're hammered into shape against an iron mould. Titanic's plates are
Titanic crashed in a single flag and panic. This tragedy, the people of Southampton could not help. It's in full career, including 75,000 pounds per week, 4,000 days, 1,000 seafaring staff, and thousands of lives. At 7 a.m., the captain of the Belfast came aboard the Titanic to repair the whole damage of Titanic. Around 9:30,
All right, Ashley, are we seriously? Oh my god! I'm really scared, I'm not gonna lie.
Is that like the equivalent of your radio?
Yeah. We gotta go. Holy moly. Alright. And my dress is totally gonna fly up. Okay. Yeah, don't look down. Don't look down. I'm recording. Picture up. I haven't died yet, so we're doing good. Oh, who's hopping? Somebody's hopping. Ah! You're such a jerk. Okay. We made it!
Oh shit.
Pass it around and then we should meet in the
I'm taking a video of your tasting experience. Yes, I thought so.
Right. So a few things. Could you lift off the covers from your whiskeys, please? Can I see yours right now? I'll get back to you in a moment, alright? So, you're going to see that you've got 3 samplers on your tray. There's a few things I'm going to need you to remember while we're doing this, okay? So first, every whiskey is in the correct position. I'm not asking anyone to guess which one is which or anything like that. Jameson in the centre, Scotch on the left, American on the right. After the tasting, I'm going to ask you to choose your favourite whiskey. I want you to be honest, guys. If you prefer the Scotch or the American, pick the Scotch or the American, okay? Secondly, we've added 1 drop of water to each whiskey. It's recommended. It helps to open up the flavour a little bit better. But that's done, so don't worry about that. Thirdly, you ever done a wine tasting where you try it and you swirl it around and you do all these stupid faces and weird breathing exercises and then you spit it out? Yeah, there'll be none of that, right? We're here to And finally, just while we're on that point, please don't finish them. I know they're only little samples, but we're going to try them a few times each. So self-control, okay? As long as I'm here at the table with you, there shouldn't be an empty glass. So a little sip every time, and then if you have anything left at the end, you can finish it if you want. Okay?
One little sip.
Exactly. We'll go through them in a specific order though. Could you begin with a quick drink of water just to cleanse the palate? Probably the only time you drink water on this trip. First whiskey you're going to sample then. It's your Jameson. So center of your tray, I'd like you to take a glass of Jameson. Now, do a quick pass under the nose first. And then after you've done that, you can get in and take a nice long deep smell. You kind of need to let your nose know what to expect. It's what's called introducing your nose to the spirit, I swear to God. When you're ready then, little sip, but I want you to try to hold it on your tongue for about 5 seconds before you swallow, okay? And this is really important, man, because a lot of people do find that if you just shoot it straight back, you only really taste alcohol. If you really want to taste every aspect of a whiskey's flavour, the number of years that it was aged is the number of seconds it should rest on your tongue before you let it go back, okay? Now look, I'm not going to be too strict on that today, but if you can, try to hold each sample there for me for a few seconds every time, okay? Right, so this Jameson, sorry, I didn't realise I had my back to anybody there, I'm so sorry, pardon me. There's a few things with it. I mean, firstly, when I say the flavour, I don't just mean, it tastes like whiskey. I mean, there's a depth. There's layers in the flavour. I always find the flavour kind of hits me in stages to some extent. So if we go right back to the start, the malted barley gives that sweetness right around the tip of the tongue, a little bit of a, I mean, not a sugary sweetness, but a light sort of cereally, biscuity sweetness that comes through. If those of you that did have a smell of the grains earlier on, you might actually still be able to pick it up in the aroma and the flavour. Now secondly, the spice, little hint of spice right in the back. It's the unmalted barley contributing that. Now some people say they get kind of an oily or creamy quality with our whiskey, and that's from the old-fashioned copper pot stills. And then the background is the honey and vanilla, and that's the barrels, the sherry and bourbon barrels. Okay. So I hope you're getting at least some of that, you know. But the second thing I hope you're noticing, the feel, very soft, very smooth, very mellow. That's triple distillation, guys. And I assure you, if you don't see it straight away, you'll see it now when we try the next 2 samples. Okay. So could you take another quick drink of water, please? And what we're going to do next is we're going to compare your Jameson to the whiskey on the left of your tray, which is the world's #1 selling Scotch whiskey. Now, I'm not saying the world's #1 Scotch whiskey. We're comparing best-selling Irish to best-selling Scotch. Now, bear in mind, best-selling Scotch whiskey in the world is actually Johnnie Walker Red. And with no disrespect intended, we just felt it was maybe time to raise the stakes a little bit. So you're actually going to compare an original Jameson to Johnnie Walker Black. This is the 12-year-old version of the whiskey. So it's a 5-year-old Jenny versus a 12-year-old Scotch. We think we stand up pretty well, but this is kind of where I'd like your opinion on it, okay? So I don't mind what you try first. Have a smell and a sip from one, followed by a smell and a sip from the other. No water. And you can go Scotch or Jameson first. I don't mind. Right, so with Scotch whiskey, guys, there's so many of them out there, there's always going to be exceptions, you know, but with Black Label, first thing you ought to notice is the smoke. The aroma and the flavour, strong, smoky and peaty, because of the way that they dry their malt. Like, as we said, there are some exceptions, but the tendency in Scotland is always towards the open fires, burning peat, turf. Whereas with Jameson, it's always the closed oven and the smokeless fuel. So, like we said on the tour, it seems like such a tiny throwaway decision, you know, but the fuel in the fire dictates the flavour of the whiskey, you know. You seeing that? Secondly, it's going to kick you in the throat on the way back. There's a completely different feeling with this. And that's 2 distillations, 3 on the Jameson. So again, hopefully you're seeing the difference there. And the final thing is something we did touch on briefly earlier on, but the world of Scotch whiskey is generally, and I do say generally, divided into 2 categories. You've got single malts, which means 1 distillery and 100% malt, but you also have blended whiskies, and Johnnie Walker is a blend. Now, this Black Label, it actually contains 40 different component whiskies, taken from distilleries all over the country, then mixed in the end to make a final product. So generally speaking, a blend is different whiskies from different distilleries combined together. Now the mistake people make is thinking that the whole world of whiskey is divided into blends and single malts. But Jameson actually falls right between the 2. So if we're really splitting hairs here, we're actually what you call a single distillery whiskey. Because it's made in one location, so technically it's not a blend, but we use malted and unmalted barley, so we're not permitted to call ourselves a single malt. So a single distillery whiskey means it's made in one place and controlled by one master distiller. Okay? Make sense? All right, not at all confusing. One last drink of water, please. Final comparison is going to be between your Jameson, and on the right is the best-selling American whiskey in the world. And that's the obvious answer, guys. Best-selling American is Jack Daniels. Yep. Probably brings back some memories, you know. It brings back massive gaps in my memory of how and ever. We're going to compare the 2, the Jack and the Jameson. Guys, if you want to finish them now, you can, so go right ahead. Now with American whiskey, you're going to notice a few things. Firstly, even on the nose, you can tell it's a completely different character of whiskey. A lot of sweetness coming from the nose, almost a cotton candy kind of aroma from this one. The main ingredient is corn rather than maize, or rather than barley, I should say. And it's a sweeter cereal, so naturally you are going to get a sweeter whiskey from that, okay? Secondly, much stronger flavour than on the way back. You'll notice maybe a perfumey or floral quality coming through. In the States, it's common practice to only use new barrels. It's brand new wood every single time. So because the wood is always that little bit more fresh, that's where that stronger flavour comes from. And the final thing is what I noticed with Jack Daniels the very first time I tried it, when I was 18. You know, you feel it all the way down. Yeah. 12 and a half, don't give me something. But yeah, you really do feel it all the way down. It's what Jack themselves refer to almost like a burn in their whiskey, and that is characteristic of one single distillation. So hopefully now, like when you put them down side by side, you really do see the difference between 1, 2, and 3 distillations, just in terms of the finish and the quality of the whiskey on the way down. You know. So guys, that's your lunch. And have you seen the differences? Because that's all I'm trying to show you with this, okay? So I'm just going to ask you to make a decision, and I want you to be completely 100% honest with me here, okay? Because this is about your taste of whiskey. It's not about everybody picking Jameson in the world is a better place. Right? Anybody going to go for the Scotch as their favourite whiskey today? Anybody going for the Johnnie Walker? No? Okay, anyone going for the Jack? Alright, so wait, correct answer. No, but genuinely, guys, the only reason we do this is that like, people walk in the door all day long just thinking whiskey's whiskey, you know? All we want to do with this is show you that even though there's, you know, whiskey is an umbrella term and there is a world of different variety and flavour beneath that, and as long as you've seen even a little bit of that today in my work,